And welcome back to part 2 of the what I was talking about today. And I kind of just wanted to separate this out so that we could have the section on TLRY after. I was kind of long-winded on the last little section, but I hope I gave you some information on how to save on commissions and whatnot. Please feel free to leave in the comments who you're using and what your commissions are, and maybe we can generate better commissions for all of us. I know some people do get better than the $1 a contract I was quoting, and some people trade bigger size than me also, but I'd love to hear who you use and which brokerage you use. Anyway, this is about TLRY. I talked before about pivoting out of UVXY for a bit, and I was looking around for a higher volatility stock that I could sell some sort of premium in, and one of the reasons I keyed in on TLRY is because I was trading earlier in the month for one thing, but also it's a pretty high volatility stock. If we look at it on the thinkorswim platform here and we go into the analyze section, we have some statistics here, and for some reason they're not really showing up. But implied volatility 131 here, and you have a decent price stock with TLRY trading around 116 right now. What that means is that you're going to have some decent option premiums to sell. And the position I put on is pretty small, but requires not that much capital. And what I did first was I went out to, and let's just take a look at the chart one more second before I go into what I put on. If you follow TLRY for a bit, I'm not sure if you have or not, but it was all over the news in in September for the big move up to 300, and since then it has, and I'm sort of in the way of the chart, let me move over here a little bit. Since then it has sort of consolidated and moved down, but every time it's gotten to like 100, it's bounced off 100, and we see it kind of making less and less volatile moves, but the option volatility is still very high, even though the stock's not moving around that much. And that seems like a good conditions for being short for some premium, selling some options. And it seems to bounce off 100, so I was looking at some puts and put spreads to sell below the 100 strike. And as an industry, usually when you look at a stock, you want to look at stocks in the industry, and the MJ industry, all of these issues have sold off from their highs. They all made highs in December of last year, and then as we came to legalization, remember legalization for full recreational use in Canada happened last month, and as we got nearer to that point, a lot of these have sold off. We've gone through earnings now, and it just seems to me like it might hang around for a little bit in this area to some extent. So what I've done is I went out to March where I could get some premium, and I sold. I was looking at some different put spreads to sell. And when I first started looking at this, stock was around 109, 106 earlier last week. And I was looking at some of these spreads, like the 60-70 spread was $5 bid. And so you could sell this $10 put vertical for 50% of the width of the strike. So it's a $10 vertical you could sell for $5, and it was like a decent amount out of the money, seeing as stock was over 100, and this is a 70 vertical. Now, of course, it could drift down to 70 before March. Anything could happen, but it just seemed like a rich premium to me. And along the vein of what we were talking about earlier last week, if you're selling something for 50% of what it could possibly be worth, you're not going to lose multiples of your money on that type of thing because it's 50% of what it could be worth you're already collecting. So it's not like you're selling it for $1 and it could explode to $10. No, you're selling it for $5. It could explode to $10, but if stock stays anywhere near where it is, that value of that is going to collapse way before expiration, before we get to March. Now, as time went by and I was looking at those, by the time the market opened the next day, this had moved a lot higher, and I ended up selling the 80-70 put spread. And I sold it for more than $5, but it was somewhere around $5. I can't remember exactly where I sold it. Then, on top of that, I did buy a calendar spread. So with, once again, things hanging out right around in the 100 area. So I just picked the at the money strike, and I decided to buy the Jan D's calendar spread. I picked a month to sell that's pretty close to expiration. There's only 12 days to expiration for the 7 D's, and then I bought the 18 Jan. So I bought the 18 Jan 115 call, and I sold the 7 D's 115 call calendar. And let's take a look at that trade. Each time you do this, what we'll do is we'll buy the Jan call in our little display here, and then we'll go to D's. I'll click on control, and I'll sell 1 D's call, and then we'll pull it up in the analyze tab here, and I will cancel out any other trades we had on there so we can see exactly what this does. So let's say we did this 10 times. So if we did this trade 10 times, at the prices right now, it would cost $4,500 basically. All right, so $4,400 in buying power, and you're going to collect $225 a day. It shows long 31 deltas here. Now, we're pretty close to strike, and this could move away from strike, but if it were just to stay here, you'd collect $225 a day right now. And if we start to move the days forward, that number is obviously going to go up as we get closer to the expiration. Let me just make sure that we're on the right date here. Okay, so yeah, that's today. So as we move days forward, it gets above $300, $400, $500, $600 as we get close. But remember, this option we're short expires on the 7th, so we're probably going to want to roll that out to the next month pretty soon. So that's the position I have on right now. I'm short the March 70-80 put spread, and I'm long the Jan D's 115 calendar spread, creating my deltas. I have a little bit of a long delta, and I'm collecting money every day. So as long as we stay in orbit, kind of in TLRY, it's a nice trade to kind of hang out while we let the VIX kind of sort itself out a little bit. Tell me what you think of this trade and any more trading ideas you have on your own, and let me know in the comments what you think. I did have a friend arrive, knock at the door, so I am going to head out to dinner now. I hope you have good trading tomorrow morning, and I do anticipate coming on tomorrow morning, so I do hope to see you then when I come on tomorrow morning. Thanks for all the new Patreon subscribers. I really appreciate that. If you haven't signed up for Patreon, just, even if you don't have money, just give $1 so that I know you're there, and it really makes my day, even when someone just gives $1 on Patreon, and I see that, because I get this notice on the email, like, someone is your patron, and it like totally makes my day, no matter how much it is, and it really helps out. Like I said, coming into the winter, it's tough to keep the channel going and have these side jobs, and the more I can actually get through Patreon, the less side jobs I have to do, and the more I can focus on providing better lessons for you in trading. So thanks again, and I'm off to dinner, and I will see you tomorrow morning for the Short Vol Show Live.